It is once again time for Trust Tuesday with our friends from the Better Business Bureau. It's Kitt Letcher, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
President and CEO of Better Business Bureau of Central Oklahoma. Good morning to you. How are you?
Doing great, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Ready for Thanksgiving?
And that is a perfect segue to the topic of this month's subject of Trust Tuesdays. It's how to cook.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Because I ordered my food.
Well done. And where do you order from?
We actually ordered food from HelloFresh this year.
Okay, so that's one of the many online...
It's a meal delivery service. You still have to cook everything yourself, but they plan it all for you. They ship it to you. It arrives at your front door. You unpack it, and then the day of, you prepare it.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
It's wonderful.
Isn't it amazing how much this has evolved and people thought, here's a need, here's a business, and it becomes logistics at that point.
It is absolutely, I will say, a lifesaver for our family, and obviously I'm not paid by HelloFresh, but it has been a huge game changer for our family. We use it every single week. Sometimes we skip meals for the week, but it's wonderful. I love it. I don't really know how we did it without it.
Trust Tuesday is brought to you by HelloFresh. This is the perfect segue into what we're talking about this month, if you will. Building a better business, best ways to use social media for your business. How did you learn about HelloFresh?
Actually, you know what? I have a newsletter that
Funny story, she says.
I know, now that I think about it. I have a newsletter that I get.
It's
called The
story.
Skim. It's not creepy.
Yeah, Skim, the daily e-letter.
So I read the daily Skim, I get my newsletter, and there was a coupon on there. And so I'd heard about meal delivery services. I really didn't know anything about there, but there was like a 50% off coupon. I thought, well, of course I have to try it.
Sounds like a deal.
Too good to be true. So we did it 1 week, and I actually did it while my husband was out of town because he doesn't necessarily always like new things. So the kids loved it. And I thought, if I can get this past the kids and I enjoy making it, then it's a great deal. So then we ordered it for the next week while he was actually home. Like, what are you guys doing? This is crazy. We can go to the grocery stores like we can, but I don't have time. I am done prepping, I'm done planning, I'm done with all the things. I mean, you even get, like, when it says have garlic in there, they've already peeled the garlic for you. It's in the bag.
They have
all
done
you
the work.
do is chop it up. I can do that. And so it made our lives so much easier. So we really stuck with it. And during the summers, we don't use it as much because we're doing a lot more activities and we're coming and going so much more. But during the school year, it is fantastic. I get it on Tuesdays. I get 2 to 3 meals a week. And it's a good variety. That's the thing I also really like, because I don't want to have the same thing every single week.
So HelloFresh used Skim, or somehow
I got a coupon.
Got themselves within that e-newsletter. Perhaps there was advertising. They used social media to leverage their awareness to you, and as a result, you're like, hey, I want to check this out and try it. And this is an example of how small businesses or other businesses could do something like this to get in front of a customer.
Yeah, because HelloFresh obviously was not the leader in the market. I think Blue Apron.
Yeah,
it was one of the first ones to come out, so it really had to make up some ground. And I don't know if it is one of the leading ones now, but I know it fits our lifestyle. And so it is how I found out. It was through our email newsletter that I read every single morning that I love, because it's so quick and easy. And so I get nice little tidbits out of there that I can then apply in other parts of my life.
So somebody, as a small business owner, again, maybe we go back to Dave's Cafe.
Hey, Dave.
And I want to get into this game to attract more customers. What are some various things that I should consider when I want to get into the social media to expand my reach, maybe?
You know, I think the biggest thing to really consider is, what is it that you actually want to get out of your social media? What is it that you're trying to do? Because if you're trying to grow your customer base, if you're trying to let people know what you have on your menu for the day, you know, there's a lot of different things that may apply to social media, especially for something like a cafe. But what is it that you specifically are trying to do? And what is the personality that you're trying to convey in your social media? You know, that has so much to do with it. There's a ton of cafes around Oklahoma City, and they all probably have some sort of social media presence, but making sure that you are unique, and when people hear your voice through your social media, that it really helps attract the right customers to you, so they're having the right experience. So evaluating your goals. What do you want to get out of your social media?
And then as a result, okay, here are my goals. Now you kind of have to have a roadmap. You got to have a plan.
Right, you got to make a plan. And now is a great time to make a plan, because for a lot of businesses, it's a little bit slower. So start looking at, what did you do throughout 2018 that you can either incorporate for 2019 or not do again in 2019 that was a waste of time. So evaluate what happened, but use that as your roadmap to set a plan moving forward. How many posts you can do a week, how many, you know, pictures you're going to take, if you're going to do more content, if you're going to attach a blog or a website to this. But putting those plans in place and that framework in place is going to make it so much easier if you're the person executing your plan or if you're hiring somebody to help you with that.
So HelloFresh, at that point, when you saw that, where was it during the year? Because I'm assuming they can't just have next day delivery for Thanksgiving.
No, they really don't. And we have actually used this service for 2 years now. So like I said, it is a staple for our lives. We didn't use it for Thanksgiving last year. I don't even know if that was an option last year, honestly. But starting in probably September or October is when we really started seeing advertisements for it. And they put like a postcard in the box that we would get. I would get email reminders about it. We would see it on our social media feeds. You know, the digital ads start to pop up, and it's just, you know, it really appealed to they make everything else in my life easier. Now let's help you with a holiday that can be stressful.
They're coming
let's
at you
make
with a
that a
solution.
little easier. Absolutely.
But they had a plan. And they're like, hey, September, October, we need to start planting that seed of, hey, if you have some holiday gatherings, we can help out with that.
Right, because people start planning for the holidays very, very early in advance. So really
smart you do.
getting ahead of it is ideal. And it was something that we really evaluated, we talked about, we thought about, we talked about some more before I finally just said, I'm going to try it. This year, we're just going to see what happens.
So HelloFresh and perhaps Dave's Cafe also needs to consider how much money am I going to spend towards these efforts.
Absolutely, because sponsored posts really can be helpful to get you into the front of the right people who don't already subscribe to your service. So maybe you have a specific demographic that you're trying to go after that you really need to capitalize and use those dollars effectively so that you're on the right social media channels, you're posting the right time of day, but that you are able to target based on who they are, what their likes are, and how the solution that you provide or the unique service that you provide really can appeal to that specific clientele.
And that's the brilliance of social media, is you really can pinpoint who your audience is.
And it's amazing if you've ever done like a Facebook ad and you have to drill down into all the different demographics. I mean, you can get down to a person's likes as far as like they like to go, you know, on adventure sports. They like to go horseback riding. They're a runner. I mean, the things that you can drill down into is pretty phenomenal. But it's great because it really helps you as a business owner narrow your focus.
You know, and perhaps it could be as granular as gluten-free people. You know, maybe that's an example, and maybe that's a small audience, a niche audience, but it's an audience that's going to come back to you.
But it's absolutely necessary. If you know that most of your clients like reading a certain magazine, or they like going to a certain type of restaurant, or they like a certain type of food, why wouldn't you appeal to them to also come and utilize your services as well?
So post thoughtfully about what you're doing.
Right. And this one I think is really interesting because, you know, as we get busy, especially in life and in business, and it's easy to just say, oh, here's a great picture of something that we're doing and everybody's going to love it. And while that may be true, it may not actually be resonating with the people that you want. So what you also want to consider with this is how to engage with your consumers. So if you are a landscaper and it's time to plant pansies and we're going into the winter months, you might ask questions, you know, do you prefer pansies or mums? Things that just get people to start engaging and thinking about you a little differently. If you're a landscaper who, during the winter months, you put up Christmas lights, maybe you put up tips on the best way to not fall off a ladder and how to hang Christmas lights. And that doesn't mean people aren't going to use you, but it helps create an atmosphere where people realize, oh, they're really thinking about what I need as a consumer. You are more likely to call them after that. And that goes back to my HelloFresh example. They really thought about my needs and what I helps my family. And so they just kept plugging away at that niche. And so that's what other businesses can do as well. You know, pipes freeze. What about telling if it's a plumber or a heat and air company, you know, this is the best way to wrap your pipes, or here's the things that you can call us about, or asking questions. Have you turned on your faucets to make sure that they're dripping?
More than just a company, you're a resource for their lives.
Absolutely, and it's supposed to be helpful. You know, when you're looking at what consumers need, they can't handle all the things, they can't remember all the things. That's your area of expertise. So why not give them the tools and the tips that they need to make their lives easier?
Are you microwaving this turkey from
I'm
HelloFresh?
I'm not. And I'm certainly not sending my mom a text about it asking her how to do it.
Is that not hilarious? Next one, missed call from mom.
It's fantastic though, and I love the ones that have the pictures that go with it of the turkey in the microwave.
A couple final points here, but utilizing those social media tools. Sean Rose is back over here as well, behind the camera as always, laughing at us. There he is. Hey, Sean. Question for you guys for Better Business Bureau of Central Oklahoma. Do you guys schedule your social media posts? And that's something else. You can utilize these tools in social media.
Yeah.
It could also be dangerous if you're throwing out a message and perhaps something in the news cycle happens and suddenly it's an awkward post.
It can be, absolutely. And so we try to be really strategic in how we post and how often we post and the type of content that we're putting out to make sure that it is seasonal and it is timely. But when things come up that people need to be aware of, being able to pull that post down and putting something else in its place that we do right then is also really important. And so being able to look at our whole schedule of, here's what we have planned for this week. Okay, we're going to scrap Wednesday, and instead we're going to put this other thing in place. That's going to be really helpful. And it helps us know that we now have content to put another day, so that we're not having to then think, oh, what are we doing next Wednesday, or planning that out. It's like, okay, we're just going to move this to this. The nice thing about
Facebook and Twitter, they have those tools available.
They do, absolutely. But the nice thing about that is that really gets into our next point of checking out your analytics and making sure that you are using the data derived from the engagement, the posts, people who are looking at it, all your results, so that as you are changing your schedule and as you're moving things around, you're being really thoughtful about how you're doing that based on the data that you've been given. And so utilizing those tools to make sure that you are really being thoughtful and purposeful in moving things around or adding more content. Maybe your Instagram's doing better than your LinkedIn. Maybe your Facebook doesn't have as much engagement. So what are you doing on these different sites that are making a difference that you can then replicate somewhere else?
Good stuff. There you have it, a deep dive on how to use social media for your businesses. Good stuff. Real world examples of the fake Dave's Cafe, but the very much legit HelloFresh.
They are legit. They do a great job. But I mean, really, when you get down to it, for every single industry, there is a way to use social media. And a lot of times we think of it as like news events and fashion and beauty and things like that. But for B2B services, we use it all the time to think about tips on, you know, what are you looking at the end of the year? Are you talking to your CPA? Is your financial advisor involved in your business? Things that businesses need to think about. And that's how we use it, because that's how businesses have told us that they want to see more content. But for somebody else, like a landscaper or a roofer or a plumber or a financial advisor, there's different ways that they can engage with their consumers so that they really are giving them the best content possible and growing their base and helping other people realize what they do.
Good stuff. I'll give her the final word right there. Kitt Letcher, ladies and gentlemen, the President and CEO of Better Business Bureau of Central Oklahoma. And of course, you can go to their website, bbb.org/Oklahoma City, for more truths and information. Kitt, it's always good to see you.
Great. Thanks, Dave.
Sean, good to see you as well. And happy holidays. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.